Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Markwayne Mullin goes up against Jake Tapper, who tries to catch him between a rock and a hard place, but little does Jake Tapper know that he came up against one of the best senators to actually talk about what Trump is trying to do with these tariffs. Let's dive in.
On what Jeff said, do you think the president should be explaining this policy and out there selling it more? Because, I mean, it is a big idea about remaking the American economy and bringing manufacturing jobs to the United States. And I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how turbulent it's going to get. I think there needs to be a little bit more, at the very least, explanation, don't you?
Well, Jake, he's been out there since he was campaigning. He was telling everybody exactly what he's going to do. In fact, if you want to, you can go all the way back to when he was in office the first time. This is just picking up where he left off. He's made it very, very clear. We've got to reset the trade imbalance that is happening inside the United States. We've allowed countries to take advantage of our economy. They have become rich. They have sucked trillions of dollars out of our economy. And we've lost manufacturing jobs. We're no longer a leader in manufacturing anymore. We're allowing them to lead the country, set up manufacturing companies in a different country, and then sell the product back to us. And truthfully, these countries, they need access to our economy more than we need access to theirs. You've already seen Cambodia, you've already seen Vietnam, you've already seen Israel, and the United Kingdom now is saying they want to negotiate. And the president is open at making a deal. He's always been about reciprocal tariffs and equal access to the economy.
So you said that President Trump's trying to even the playing field, and obviously that's a great goal, level playing field. Today, instead of removing its tariffs, China announced a 34% tariff increase on U.S. goods coming into China. That's matching what President Trump calls reciprocal tariff. Trump's 34%. Isn't there also the risk that this is just going to make the playing field even more uneven?
Well, no, let's think about that. Over 40% of the manufacturing goods that are produced in China are sold back to the United States. We're not even close to having the same amount. So they have 40% of their manufacturing jobs dependent on our economy. They need to sell their products inside the United States much more than we do. This is why they set up the Belt and Road Initiative years ago, because they wanted to limit their dependency on the United States. We can walk down the Belt and Road Initiative forever and understand why that's a hard line for China to even make. But the truth is, they need us more than we need them.
Listen to something your Republican colleague, Senator Ted Cruz, from just down south of Oklahoma and Texas.
They're still trying to figure out how to play football in Texas.
Well, that's another day. Listen to what he posted today.
If we're in a scenario 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, with massive American tariffs and massive tariffs on American goods in every other country on earth, that is a terrible outcome.
So he's talking about 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. What do you think? Do you agree?
I don't think we're going to be 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months down the road. I think we're experiencing very short-term pain for a long-term gain. President Trump is not interested in making political decisions. He's interested in understanding that we're wanting to set up our economy for the future. We have continued to gain bigger deficits and trade deficits with different countries around the world. If we're ever going to right the ship, if we're ever going to take care of it, this is the time to do it. And President Trump is just the president to do it, because he's a business guy leading from the Oval Office, not a politician. Someone had to eventually take this bull by the horns and change the direction we're going. And President Trump is willing to do that, and he's going to do that. We're not going to be talking about this in 90 days. What we're going to be talking about in 90 days is how many manufacturing jobs are coming back to the United States. We're going to be talking about access to new markets for manufacturers that are here. And we're going to talk about reciprocal, fair and trade balance with our allies across the world in our economy.
You know, it's not just Democrats criticizing the president on this. It's not just economists. It's a lot of conservatives. Take a listen to Ben Shapiro.
It is a tax paid for by Americans. So this is a massive tax increase on American consumers. That's what it is. And it is designed to be so.
I mean, I've heard it described by economists who generally support Trump as the biggest tax increase since 1968.
Well, if I'm going to be following somebody, I'm going to be following a guy that's been very successful in business and knows exactly what's going on. He's been talking about this since 2015, about the way that the U.S. is unfairly treated and the way we allow people to take advantage of us. And he knows, because he's been in business. He's been in the retail business. He understands He understands tariffs better than any president we've ever had, and I would say any politician that we've ever had elected to office. This is the time and this is the place to figure this out and fix it now.
Y'all, when you want to vote for someone who understands logistics, you vote Republican. And when it comes to the Republican Party, there's a handful of senators you go to for certain information. John Kennedy, you go to him because not only is he smarter than you, he's probably a little bit funnier than you. Let's be honest here. When you go to Ted Cruz, he's talking about the Constitution. There isn't a better constitutional scholar than Ted Cruz. Then if you want something based on policy, you talk to Josh Hawley and understand the ins and outs. But if you want to ask any question of the Senate entirely, you actually go to Tom Cotton. But ultimately, when it comes to logistics and business knowledge, you go to Markwayne Mullin. This dude has actually owned his own business. He knows what it means to actually get goods from point A to point B. He understands logistics at its heart. And that's one of the things he's kind of known for. That and being a potential MMA star, the dude's trained in martial arts. And he even threatened to fight a union member, which they've so long made up over, but he understands something a little bit better than most U.S. senators do, because most U.S. senators are lawyers, they're doctors. Not too many of them are small business owners. So what Markwayne Mullin is really explaining here, that these tariffs aren't really what everyone says they are. Ted Cruz is out here saying, oh, this is going to be terrible for the American economy. That's thinking that's barely out of the stages of the Cold War, okay? The reality is the tariffs that are being levied against the United States are much, much worse than we actually think. And let me pull this up. This is the reciprocal tariffs, according to the quite literal president of the United States here. China has a 67% tariff on United States goods. That ain't good. India, 52%. Cambodia, which was brought up in this clip, 97%. Israel, 33%. The Philippines, 34%. Pakistan, 58%. All of these other nations have tariffs against the United States, which either means our economy is so good that other nations have to basically tremble and quake and announce tariffs on our goods in order to make theirs protected and theirs more tolerable, or, well, these other nations really aren't just that capitalistic. Which I don't tend to believe the latter, I must believe the former, because that's the reality of the situation. We aren't playing with a full deck of cards. We're playing 5-card stud with only 4 cards. No wonder we keep on getting beat, and we've been beaten time and time again after the malaise of the 1960s and then Jimmy Carter's terrible presidency. We opened up the markets in the 80s, that's how we beat communism, but now we need a new mantra. We need a new way of talking about things. We need a new avenue to rebirth our middle class. Because the sad truth is, our middle class has been disappearing for the past 30 years or so, arguably longer. Now, the good news about that track is the fact that most people are actually leaving into the upper class. But that's a divide that's been basically doing this. Okay? It's widening. There's a problem with that widening. That means the middle class isn't existing. We're basically getting a upper class and a lower class, and that is the downfall of an American economy. That is the downfall of the American future. Congratulations, our stocks have been doing so well that eventually we're able to make our way into the upper class or even higher, but the lower classes keep on getting worse and worse off. There is a way to fix this, but there isn't a way to tax our way out of this. That's the old Democrat playbook. The Republican playbook has traditionally been just tax cuts. Well, that doesn't work anymore, okay? It is a new paradigm. There is a new sheriff in town, and the best way to deal with this is going to be tariffs. The union workers across America have been leaving the Democrat Party in droves. They are madder than a hornet's nest that it's been stirred up by some random kid on the sidewalk, and they are out for, well, lack of a better word, they're out for blood because they want their jobs protected. They want more money in their pockets, and the Democrats have not been providing it. This has been the best opportunity the Republican Party has in the past 150 years of existence. The Republican Party has always been the party of big business, for lack of a better phrase. The Democrat Party has always been the party of the little guy. That started off with the human farmer. It has then been the minority worker, or the union worker, or the laborer. And now that union worker and laborer are starting to look left, they're starting to look right, and they're wondering, maybe there's something better out there. Maybe there's a better policy that isn't just tax me harder or cut taxes. Tariffs are a new way, and really they're an old way, but they are a new way in modern politics to actually get something that you're really, really wanting. We need a stronger middle class, and that's what tariffs ultimately do. Like I said earlier, the whole point and purposes of these nations levying these heavy tariffs against U.S. goods is to protect their own industry. That isn't a terrible policy for them, but then it's a terrible policy for us? I'm sorry. Ted Cruz is brilliant when it comes to constitutional matters. I don't think he has a grasp on the modern economy, whereas Markwayne Mullin, who has been a small business owner, actually does. And he is giving a beautiful answer here that really, if I could give this dude a blue ribbon, I'd do so, because this dude understands basic logistics. These tariffs are logistics at a global scale, all right? This isn't getting from one side of Oklahoma to the other for Markwayne Mullin. This is an understanding of what the rest of the world is trying to do to the United States. Well, no more. There's a new sheriff in town. There's a new playbook. We're going to run a new NFL-style offense. Let's see where this goes. Because right now, the only people dealing with this mess are people who are basically wimping out of the stock market as fast as they can, whereas the smart people are waiting to, buy the dip. This is Markwayne Mullin basically trying to re-educate Jake Tapper. Again, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It is CNN after all. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. This is PolitiBrawl. Hope you enjoyed this segment here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.